Hello, welcome to the Peaceful Wood Turner. This is a piece of just kind of punky, not real good wood, but it's got some neat figure to it. Doesn't have a whole lot of bug tracks in it, and I've got a little time to kill, so I figured let me just try playing around with it a little bit. I'm just going to go for making a small goblet. It'll give me a chance to practice my spindle turning as well as some of my hollow form and everything else. So I figured this is going to be where the base is, and this is going to be the stem of the goblet, and then up here will be the bowl of the goblet. So I'm going to start by moving my tool rest up to this area, and this is also an opportunity for me to really try playing around with my dust collection system. So let me get this going. So I realized looking at this that this may not be strong enough really to be a goblet, but it would make a really nice little candle holder. So I'm going to start with doing that. Just have basically, it'll be the same kind of thing as the goblet, just not as much stem. It'll have a base down here, it'll come up, and I'll hollow out up here to hold a pillar type candle. I'm going to use a couple Forstner bits to take some of this out. I don't want to work it too hard because, like I said, it's kind of soft wood. I'll be able to harden it up a little bit when I finish it. It'd be really nice to be able to actually stabilize it. I just don't have a vacuum chamber and all the other equipment right now. So in the meantime, I'm learning my other skills and working on understanding how the wood's going to behave, why I need to do certain things, why other things do work, don't work, whatever. Forstner bit, so I'm going to go at a slow speed, about 580 RPM. By the way, just so you know, for my depth, as long as I don't go any further than here, I'm fine. That's pretty much the same length as my depth that I designed. Before I finish this off here, I'm just going to work on sanding the inside and the end. It's got pretty good shape already, and I don't want to work it too much because this wood's going to chip a lot. I've been getting a kick out of my dust collection system, watching the little bits go in. I don't know if you'd be able to see it at all, but it really has been coming through kind of nicely, so I'm really happy about that. I've got a 220 sponge here, and I'm just going to go at a really low speed, about 500 RPM. If anybody has any tips for sanding the bottom of things like that, I'd love to hear it. I've never gotten a really good finish on the very bottom. I kind of think I could rig something up, basically a stick, almost the same size, get it to fit in there, but I'm not sure if that would be safe. I'm not sure if that's the best way to go. I'm going to sand the end a little bit more, and then I'll work on shaping the rest of this. I'm going to put my live center back in here. This will stabilize things while I finish the rest of this off. I'm going to use my skew. Try to get a little bit smoother finish here. Like I said, it's really punky wood, so not all of it's going to do real well. I'll shape this down a little bit, and I'll give myself kind of a chunky base just to offset the weight that's up here. So I've got my smaller skew, not my tiny one, but a smaller one, and I think I've got a pretty good angle here. So, let's see how we do. Alright, I got it trued up a bit, so I'm going to just smooth this out one more time. See if I can get this a little smoother in here. I'm just not that good with it yet, but I'll get there. That's a good bit smoother, and I like that shape better. I worked that out a little bit nicer. Still got a couple tool marks down here. It's not as bad as it was. So I think it's time to start sanding it now. I'm going to do the same thing as I did on the inside to start. I'm going to go with a 220 grit on the sponge. And it's going to take a little bit of work to get some of this out. And then I'll go higher grits. Much slower too, about 500 RPM. Out nicely. I'm going to go to a higher grit and just keep working through it. Okay, that's actually come out a lot nicer than I thought it was. I'm going to go with a couple of higher grits, and then I'm going to work on sealing it up and putting a finish on. So this is a 500 grit. This is a 500 grit with some mineral oil on it. Hopefully that'll help to kind of seal things up, also raise it up a little bit, and be able to get some of the high spots out as I go. The other thing I like about using the mineral oil is it usually shows me some lines. Lets me see where I'm missing. That's got a nice color to it. A lot of character in those lines. I'm going to part it off, and then I'm going to seal it with a weird technique that I've come up with, and then I'll put a finish on it. So I like how that looks. Like I said, I don't really get a good finish on the inside a lot of the time with the sanding. I've got a couple ideas for things I can do, so I'm going to play around with that a little bit. I'll probably share that with you as I work on it. I need to trim off this little nub on the bottom, and I'm going to seal it up and put a finish on it. This actually came out a lot nicer than I thought. I thought this piece of wood was going to be useless, but that piece is nice. So I got this little nub here that I need to take off. I figure the utility knife should get it. If not, I'll switch to the chisel. Well, utility knife got it without a problem. Nice. Just going to do a little bit of sanding on it. There. Now it sits flat and flush. Now I'm going to seal it. And what I found works really well actually is this clear school glue. It soaks in a lot, and then when it dries it actually keeps everything closed up and takes a finish a lot better. I discovered this when I was making an ornament out of some really bad wood. I had somebody bugging me to make an ornament that we could keep here in the house, and because I was making everything to give away. And I had one little piece, and it wasn't that nice, but it was what the person wanted, so I made it, and it soaked up every finish I put on it. Every single little bit. And then I tried this glue to just seal it, and it was amazing. After that, took the finish with no problem. This is just a regular school glue, but it goes on clear, and it dries nice and clear. Downside is it is water soluble, so it's not a kind of finish you want to put on anything that is going to be getting wet at all. In this case, I'm going to be sealing and then putting a finish on top, and this is meant as a candle holder. So I've got this board here with parchment paper, and as the glue dries I won't accidentally glue it to the board, because while that would be funny, it would not be such a peaceful wood turner at that point. Maybe I should have called myself a temperamental wood turner. There we are. I'll set that aside to dry. And in a little while it'll be ready. The glue has had plenty of time to set. I'm happy that there's no drips or anything like that on it. Everything's pretty solid, so next thing is just to put a few coats of spray on it and see how it looks. This is the finished piece. It's got a few coats of spray finish on it, spray acrylic, rattle can finish as they call it. I think it looks pretty nice. I'm happy with how that turned out. And considering it was a piece of wood that I didn't expect to get anything out of, I'm really happy. Thank you for joining me today on the Peaceful Wood Turner.